Good evening. I'm Matt Frisco, managing editor of the Hill Country Tribune, where we have some breaking news here for you this evening. President Donald Trump ordered a cruise missile strike against Syria early this morning local time. Currently it's around 5:10 in the morning in Syria, but the attacks took place around 3:45 this morning. Anyway, we know that President Donald Trump ordered cruise missile strikes against Syria early this morning local time in retaliation for a chemical weapons attack that has killed 86 people on Tuesday. This according to the Pentagon, and I just got an email from Corey McClellan, who is at the Pentagon, saying that the attack is the first conventional assault ordered by President Trump. We know that, and it comes after a day, comes a day after he declared a chemical weapons assault had crossed many lines that, according to President Donald Trump, it did cause the death of 27 children. Now, the missiles were fired from U.S. Navy vessels I want to back up here and be very clear about this. It was fired from a U.S. Navy vessel, one vessel in the Mediterranean Sea. It struck multiple sites, including an airfield where I personally have spent some time around in Syria, where they base warplanes and used a chemical attack, and that according to a defense official. The attack essentially follows the plan that the Pentagon had set out back in 2013 under President Obama, according to a senior defense official not authorized to speak publicly to the media. However, we did get that information coming in from correspondents at the Pentagon. Syrian President Bashar Assad had used chemical weapons to kill at least 1,400 civilians, but Obama did not order an attack for whatever reason. Now, this just now coming in also from Chelsea Arthur in Washington, one of our correspondents that I've worked with quite often in my previous job in Washington, saying that the Russians were informed in advance of this U.S. missile strike. Now, that brings up a lot of questions for me, but I want to just a lot of questions in general. But let's stick to the facts here. That Assad agreed to turn over his stockpiles of weapons back in 2013 under the Obama administration, and he pledged a pledge that he obviously reneged on. So this is a very active night here as we watch this Military Matters segment. As we follow this. Now, I want to give you a little bit of an idea. I have personally spent some time in Syria, know a little bit about the area. This particular air base, the Shirat Air Base, that was attacked tonight. Shirat Air Base was attacked tonight. It is in a place called Homs, and Homs is is controlled by the obviously Homs government in Syria. It's kind of a strange place, but the Shirat Air Base, to my knowledge, has 0 helipads, and as I know it, it has 2 runways, and I believe there's about 40 bomb shelters there as well. Now, I personally have seen MiG-23s take off from Shirat. It's a fairly large air base, but it's not enormous, but it's pretty good size, and I would think it would make a good target for the president to aim these missiles at for certain. So now, here's what I think you can assume. We've been talking about this off and on for a couple of days. Here's what I think you could probably assume. And again, nothing has been written in stone at this point, obviously, but or at least nothing has been said. But you can presume that this would be a little bit larger of an attack, kind of a prelude to that. This situation has been boiling, obviously. Now, I want to go to the remarks from President Trump. President Trump says that it did attack an airfield. He says that this is vital to national security. And he also says that previous attempts have failed dramatically. And that's a quote coming from the president. And he calls tonight for civilized nations to join with us to stop the Assad regime. So, let me give you a little quick recap here. U.S. missiles were fired from Navy vessels in the Mediterranean Sea. They struck multiple sites, including the Shirat Air Base in Homs. This is in response to a Syrian-based warplane chemical weapons attack that happened on Tuesday. This is a pretty significant move by the Obama administration. Now, Defense Secretary James Mattis has briefed President Trump on the missile strikes before and has now filled the president in on what we know to be certain. But just to kind of recap for you, the main target here we presume is the Sharat Air Base in Homs. It has 2 runways, 40 shelters, and MiG-23s. So, let me give you a little idea of what was used, just to kind of fill you in here. We are, according to the released information that we are looking at here, was a Tomahawk cruise missile. The Tomahawk is a long-range, all-weather subsonic cruise missile. It's named after a Native American axe. So it kind of fits appropriately. Now, this thing only flies about 100 feet off the deck. If you've ever seen a cruise missile fly, it doesn't fly very high and it doesn't go in a straight line. The cruise missile kind of can move, this Tomahawk missile can move and change directions with what is going on, the terrain, or to keep it from getting shot down or whatever. It is a long-range, all-weather subsonic cruise missile, and it's been in service since 1983. The first time we know that it was used was in 1991. This particular cruise missile, type of cruise missile, was used back in 1991 against Saddam Hussein. The cruise missile weighs about 3,500 pounds with a booster. I would assume that these Tomahawk missiles did most likely have a booster on them to get them from the Mediterranean Sea into the inland areas of the Sharat Air Base. I would assume they would have a booster. And they're powered by a Williams International F-107 turbofan engine, using a TH Dimer fuel, and they can also use a solid rocket fuel just to kind of give it a little bit extra of a boost. Pretty impressive little missile, actually. I believe that this was I'm getting information here that this was a BG-109 Tomahawk missile was exactly what was used, and its primary target was the Sharat Air Base in Homs. So that's kind of what we know now. So, to catch you up, just to kind of recap, the President of the United States, Donald Trump, has ordered a cruise missile strike against Syria, multiple locations in Syria. About 50 to 60 of these Tomahawk cruise missiles have been launched, and apparently taking out strategic targets in response to Bashar Assad's use of chemical and biological weapons against his own people. So, pretty dramatic events happening here tonight. Reporting from our studios here in Burnet, I'm Matt Briscoe, Managing Editor of the Hill Country Tribune. We'll bring you up more up to date here shortly.